You more than anyone know the reality of caregiver burnout. Caregiver burnout is a huge problem for both for professionals because it impacts the reputation of businesses. There's a huge cost and stress on the rest of the staff. And for family caregivers, burnout, it's a killer. The stress and the strife that is caused with people who are burned out is incredible. One of the factors of burnout is frustration. When I was a caregiver, I have to tell you, I thought frustration was my middle name. I was the caregiver for my mother for 8 years. And there were times when I was so exhausted and so frustrated, I just didn't know what to do. Have you ever been there? Where you're just overwhelmed. And it's relentless. The care, the challenges, you're exhausted, and you are frustrated because the problems that you solved yesterday are completely different today, and you have to be fast on your feet and try and resolve these problems. I was my mother's caregiver, and at the end of her life, I was just beyond exhausted and frustrated. I wasn't my best, that's for sure. Congestive heart failure and vascular dementia were what she was dealing with, which meant that's what I was dealing with. So her dementia would come and go. And as she neared the end of her life, in addition, her anxiety and her fear really ramped up, which made the situation even more challenging for me. My mom was from Ireland, and she loved to travel. And when I think back of the happiest times in her life, it was when she had just booked a flight and she was so excited to go, she would get her case out weeks ahead of time to start packing. So at the end of her life, I wasn't really surprised that she would say that she felt she was going on a journey, but she didn't know where. And I remember speaking to the hospice people who were so helpful. And they said to me, you know, that's not uncommon. People who are near the end of their life often feel they're going on a journey. But your mother is really quite specific. She kept asking me for the bus schedule to Ireland. Yeah, and in fact, she said to me, I want you to bring me up my good suitcase from the basement, the black one, and put it right here. So I said, okay, Mom, and I went to the basement and I got her case, brought it upstairs, and set it next to her chair. She didn't fill it, she didn't put anything in it, but I know that she felt better just having it nearby. So one of the other things of her dementia was that she often thought that there were two Breedas, the good Breeda and the bad Breeda. Oh yeah, and she would complain, she would tell me all about the bad Breeda and how difficult she was and how she would make her take medicine and do exercises and that she would not give her a cup of tea after midnight. I loved it because I could get all the scoop and I could know what was really going on. But agitation and anxiety got worse, and she would ask me every day for that bus schedule. She couldn't actually travel to Ireland. I thought about that. She was too frail. And hospice had said, you know, again, this was normal. But my mom was so specific, and she would not be diverted. I did everything I could to change the subject, to try and get her to think of something else, but she was focused like a laser. She knew what she wanted, and I wasn't giving it to her. Well, one day, and I have to say, I must have gotten sleep that night because I was better able to handle the situation. And she's sitting in her chair, and she's really nervous and anxious. And I said, Mom, what's going on? It's that Breeda. I'm just so upset with her. I keep asking her for the schedule, the bus schedule, and she just won't get it for me. And I said to her, Mom, don't you worry about her. I'm here today, and I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to go to the computer. I had no idea what I was going to do. All I knew was that I had to figure out a way to give my mom some comfort, to ease her and give her some peace of mind. I realized what this was about. She was really frightened and she was scared. She knew she was going on a journey. She didn't know where. So I actually heard what she was saying. And I went to my computer, I sat down at the keyboard, I took a deep breath, I cleared my head, and I thought, what could help my mother? What could I do? And it hit me. I could get her a plane ticket, a fake one, but I could get her a plane ticket. So I Googled fake airline ticket, and instantly on the screen appeared a template for a boarding pass. And I thought, okay. So I started to fill it in. I typed her name. It said departing airport, DTW, arriving airport. Now this was tricky. What do I do? And I decided to go for the gold. And I typed heaven. And just so you know, there is no airport code for heaven. You can spell the whole thing and it'll fit. Then travel dates. That was another one. Open. Again, it took it. I looked at it and it said first class, of course. And then I looked at it again on the screen. This was a random boarding pass. And it said American Airlines. My brother works for American Airlines, and my mother is so proud. This was perfect. So I got a bit of cardstock out of my desk, shoved it in the printer, hit print, and boom, out shot a boarding pass for my mother. I cut it to size, put it in an envelope, wrote her name along the side, walked over to her chair, and said, Mom, you're all set. You don't have to worry, you're all set. And she looked at me, and she had that look in her face that I could tell she was thinking clearly. She opened the envelope, she read it, and she looked at me, and she said, oh, I'm going to show Father Will this one. And she did, and she showed every visitor that we had in the coming weeks. She kept it in her handbag. And it was a great moment of joy and of fun. And she never asked me for the bus schedule to Ireland again, that she felt calm. So I just want to say that when you are thinking about how you're going to help someone and you're frustrated and you're exhausted, number one, try and get some sleep. It'll help a lot. But what was the core issue? Think about what really could you do to help them in their time. I wish I could tell you that I was always so clever and so smart when I dealt with challenges in caregiving. But that one time, I was able to help my mother, and I was able to help myself, and it was a gift.